Today we're gonna talk about the future of Axie Infinity Esports. Now we have seen plenty of tournaments lately with prizes reaching up to 250 AXS, and there has been a grant for 7,500 AXS for the first and second quarter of 2022, which has been distributed over 75 events, and we should get an update on what quarter 3 and 4 looks like as we are moving into Origin. Now, so with May approaching, we are rapidly coming to the final sprint of second Axie Esports grant. There was a first one last year as well, leaving many wondering what's coming next, especially that we have the Origin Alpha. So they won't have all of the answers you seek in this newsletter. However, there are a few key topics that they want to address. The first one is Competitive Integrity Council, which they have created on March 30th, and some of the main members are, or all of the main members are, so the 7 main members, 4 from Sky Mavis, 1 pro player, 1 tournament organizer, and 1 elected, appointed by Sky Mavis, and 1 set to serve a 1-year term. So we have Zayori, we have Stuart Love, Oxiana, Post 2, those are all from SM, and then we have Indus as a pro player, and I don't really know these other 2 guys, but that's the current existing council for Axie Esports. Now they are also setting out some rules, governing rules for Axie Infinity Esports. We definitely need a good set of rules so that the organizers know what to follow, as some of the tournaments are not the best organized when it comes to the games that you are playing, what time you're playing them, etc, etc. So the Community Council will have the power to punish those breaking the rule set with forfeiting of prize earnings, temporary ban of in-game assets using violations, temporary suspension from Axie tournaments, and indefinite suspension from official Axie tournaments. That is quite a lot of power. You can see the whole rule set right here. There should be a link. I'll link this whole article down below so you can check that out. Now the main issue is, what are they going to do about Axie Origin and Axie Classic? Now we know that Origin Alpha is coming up, or the Axie Origin is coming up to a launch within 2 months. We should be able to get that. There's been a lot of feedback from players with concern about how competitive it will be moving forward, and that is true because currently it's not that competitive. You make your team and you play the game, not really much goes into that. We hear you loud and clear and continue to take that feedback into consideration as we add more layers into Origin. So there will be more balancing patches, as there should be in Origin in the alpha period before season 1 starts with SLP rewards, but please continue to submit bugs, etc, etc. Originally we offered tournament organizers on the current grant the opportunity to run their events on Origin after its launch. However, there is currently no delay on the in-game spectating in Origin, so spectators delay will be added towards the end of this testing phase, closer to when season 1 starts, which will allow to support official online tournaments in Origin, and that is great news. Being able to spectate games in real time or with a slight delay for the broadcast will make it much easier to host tournaments, but also to stream it and get some more eyes on the game. Competitive modes, let's see whether they come up with a competitive mode. I actually would like to see that in Origin. Have Origin as the main game and then a competitive mode like the Classic with the new game models being added in, so that the tournaments are slightly more varied than the main game. So thanks to all the tournament that has been happening on Axie Classic, we have collected some great feedback regarding optimal tournament modes and formats from players. So it's quite clear that player pools needs to be limited for a tournament, and that is true. You cannot have an unlimited pool because then you create disadvantages that some people can have clear counters. Usually a maximum of 13 or 15 Axies that are locked in for an event lasting a few days. Not sure that is the best move, honestly. Having a lower amount of Axies actually limits your, or make sure that you selected the right Axies. With 15 Axies you can select so many teams that you are covered on all fronts, whereas with 9 Axies or thereabouts you have to think about the optimal Axies that you can put in there. Some events have experimented with simplistic ban systems where players are able to remove 1 or 2 Axies from opponent's pool at the beginning of a new series, and that is also a good one as well. But then again, if someone just has 1 plant for the front lane and you ban out that plant, then you ruin all of his teams, so it might not be the best for people that are on lower budget. One of the more popular configurations has been 10-1, where player brings 10 Axies to a tournament and are able to remove one at the start of every series. So although it must be tracked manually right now, this system has worked well for smaller invitational tournaments, and they might be able to introduce that in Origin with an automated system. When it comes to Origin, they are still experimenting and collecting data on optimal competitive game mode, and they plan to implement an esports mode directly into the game client, but that is still a way to go. We already see in the game client the tournament bracket, so they should put that right in there. This is an important layer to unlock the full competitive potential of Origin. When it comes to the future, the road might feel a little bit bumpy right now as they transition, and it really is, because like what game should you be playing? Origin, you can test it out, but there's not much that you can earn. Actually, there's nothing that you can earn other than bragging rights. Classic, not many people want to buy a team for Classic because they already know it's the last season, so that's getting like and it's a bit shaky now. Unfortunately, they're not quite ready to spoil the announcements of what we have in the pipeline, but there are several esports activations on their way to be revealed. As you have probably noticed, AXS emission through regular season rewards have been increased dramatically, and they plan to also utilize esports and competitions to increase the amount of AXS being distributed to the community. So that is the next step moving forward. The future esports grants will expand to offerings beyond a one-size-fits-all style approach and open doors for scaled events ranging from regional scholarship cups to physical majors with live audiences. Now that is exciting. That's given that the game will be competitive enough to accommodate those. The stage is being set, etc, etc. General notes, guidelines based on the feedback from the community. Strong preference for avoidance of best of 1 or best of 3 formats where possible. That is true. Best of 3 in Axie Classic right now is taking a couple of minutes, and it can be variance heavy, like very heavy on the variance because of the crits that are in the game. Now moving into Origin, best of 3 will probably be enough. Ideally best of 5 for Classic. Hopefully they don't make it best of 5 mandatory when you move into Origin, because the games are just so much longer, and the majority of the rounds with best of 7 finals. That is quite good. Where feasible, use double elimination brackets as well. Yep, that's true. You want to give people second chance that lost to the variance, even if, example, round of 2, 5, 6 to round of 16 is single elimination, then move into double elimination bracket for the final round. Makes sense as well. Bunch of clearing of the rules, and that's pretty much it. There's not much else that you can say about that. So we know that Axie Infinity has been granting a lot of access for tournaments. We have seen great tournaments previously, and we should see a lot more moving into the future. There should be a major cup being hosted on Axie Origin once they finally release that. I believe I mentioned that already, with a grand prize of AXS. So yeah, Axie Origin should be a good game if they continue to work on it. I actually still believe in it with the mass adoption. And with the possibility to play Axie Origin on your phone, we should be able to get a lot more people into the game and let them compete in tournaments as well. Maybe even using starter Axies, who knows. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel for daily playthrough content, and I will see you in the next one.